Hey everybody, happy Tuesday and welcome back to my channel. It's good to see you here. If you're new here, I'm Clayton and I kind of talk about a lot of different stuff. I'm trying to develop like a niche, but I don't have one yet. I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so here I am again. I'm happy to have you here. And for this week's video, I got a lot of good feedback from last week about my story with cerebral palsy and kind of what I went through. So this is going to be a part 2 to that. It's going to be what my life was like growing up with cerebral palsy. So what was it like to be, a kid, a teenager, whatever, growing up and having to kind of adapt and live differently. So first off, I want to start off by saying I hope that with these videos, if you are a mother of a child with cerebral palsy, or you are someone with cerebral palsy themselves maybe doesn't know how to navigate the world with the condition that you have, I hope this can help you. That's my goal, because who better to learn it from than somebody that's lived it. So this is a very important topic to me, and I'm getting more comfortable now where I can talk about it, because for a long time I didn't want to talk about it, but now I do and I can comfortably talk about it, so I'm going to. So I want to start off with, like the first things that I can remember. So growing up, kids do, they run around, they jump and run and skip and hop and do whatever. And I could not really do that, because when I was about 4, when I had my first surgery when I was 4, okay? And then I turned 5 that August, and then that December I walked for the first time, okay? At 4 years old, because before that my muscles were way too tight to do any sort of walking, so I would it was like almost tiptoeing instead of walking. It was different, couldn't really work. So when I had that surgery, I could walk, but I had to use like a walker, and I had the cute little walker with a red basket on the front. It was great. It's still somewhere around here. I have it, I don't know where, probably in storage or something. So that was the first time I realized something was like different, because obviously other kids, they don't need that, but it's, I did what I needed to do to get around and be a kid. And people have always told me I acted like a normal kid, because I was a normal kid, aside from the fact that I needed help doing this or that, because at the time both of my legs weren't working as they should. So that was like probably kindergarten, daycare, kindergarten. And then I remember in 2nd grade, I had like a big surgery where they lengthened some tendons and cut my hamstrings, did all kinds of stuff. And that really allowed me to walk normally. I was in a wheelchair. That was the first time I was ever in a wheelchair, in 2nd grade. And being a kid and being in a wheelchair is weird, because you want to go be a kid and you want to go to the playground at school and you want to do all these things, and you can't really do that if you're in a wheelchair. And I'm thinking, like, I think the playground was like gravel. Yeah, it was gravel. And imagine rolling a wheelchair on gravel. It wasn't cool. It didn't work. But I did it anyway. You find friends and you find people, teachers, whatever, that will help you out. And it's important to find your support system of people who don't give a shit about what you can't do. It's about what you can do, and they see you as who you are as a person. That's really important, to find those people, because I found those people growing up. I know I'm not necessarily friends with all of them now, because things changed, but at the time I had these really cool people that would help me out with anything that I needed, and just treated me like a kid, like I wanted to be treated, because even if I couldn't get up and run with them, I could still do so much other stuff, okay? I was still a person, I was still a friend, I was still a kid. So that was, elementary school, kind of in a nutshell. I ended up in a wheelchair again, later on in that, kindergarten through 6th grade, for a different surgery on my legs, blah, blah, blah. I've had a bunch of surgery. I'm so tired, but I'm done with that now. It's been years, but um, so going into from elementary school to middle school, that's a big transition for anybody, but it's a really big transition when it's a lot of prepubescent assholes that just are mean for no reason. Just kids are mean, teenagers are mean, and it's worse when you have a limp. Like I have a limp in my right leg, and if people see something that's different, that they don't understand, that they are not a respectful person, they're gonna talk about that, and they're gonna look at you, and they're gonna do that. And I got all kinds of looks, all kinds of backhanded comments, all kinds of things mumbled behind my back that I heard that they don't know I heard. Like to this day, there are people that I know and they said things and they don't know that I heard it, but I did. And my middle school in itself was not a cool place. It was not good. But I made it through that. I was in a wheelchair again in the eighth grade, and that was the biggest surgery that I had ever, because they took out 3 inches of this bone of my femur in my right leg, and I would be 5'11" now. I'm 5'8", and I would be 5'11" if they hadn't taken that out, which is bothersome. But like before they did that surgery, I had to wear a lift in my shoe that was like that tall. It was like the amount of bone that they took out. I had to wear it to make up for the leg discrepancy. And that was even more embarrassing because I remember people saying, "Why does he have a lift in his shoe? That's so gross." And I was like, yeah, I don't want it either, actually. But so that was the thing. But like I said, again, you find your people. I found people who didn't care about what I can and can't do. Couldn't do at the time. It's different now. And we became good friends. And like I said, it's important to find a support system and to know that you aren't by yourself, and not necessarily within a community of people with the same disease or illness, but of just people, that don't care. Because there are a lot of people who will be nasty to you and be rude, but there are also a lot of people who don't care and who will be nice to you regardless and want to be your friend because they see you for you and not for what you can and can't do. And that's really important. So after the big surgery, that was a big adjustment because that was the 3rd time that I had to relearn how to walk. And then doing that, it's different when you're young, and because I can't remember the first time because I was 4, but this time I was in 8th grade. I was 12, 13, and I remember that. It wasn't fun. Physical therapy is never fun, but it's something that you do so that you can get back on your feet and figure out what you need to do to get better and to be at the point where you want to be, okay? So I did that for quite a while and ended up, back where I was, which is a good place. It's not a bad thing. I ended up, back where I was, and that's good. Going into high school, things weren't as difficult because at that point it had been quite a while that I had been living with this. The hardest part was like elementary, middle, when I'm still figuring myself out, and then also having to deal with cerebral palsy. But once I got to high school, that was easier because I had a fast group of friends that I'm still friends with now, and they never really cared about, the way that I might take a little bit longer to go up steps, or might not run as fast or jump as high, those kinds of things, but it's, I just keep saying it because it's so important to find a group of people who support you in all that you do, and not just when it's convenient for them, and not just when you think that, oh, well, he needs to pick me up, let me go talk to him. It's not those kinds of people that you need. You need people that are there for you all the time. And that's the kind of person I try to be. That's the kind of person that I look for. High school's easier. I know high school is hard. for a lot of people personally, I had a good experience with it. I didn't, like, I'm trying to think, I didn't have much like trouble, pushback with things like that. I did have another surgery that in ninth grade. Anyway, they put a metal bar in my toe, whatever. It can't bend anymore, which is super annoying. I'm like looking at it right now and I can't bend it. And that was another time that I was in a wheelchair again. But high school was easier because I already had that established group of friends and kind of knew what to expect from it. But to have those people is very important. And then, you know, as I've grown up, you know, it's been difficult, but it's also been a learning experience. I felt like I had to grow up fast. I had to grow up quick. You know, I had to become mature at a relatively young age because of the things that I went through. And that's not easy when you're a kid. I'm thankful for it now because I'm 25 and I feel like I'm 100, which is, you know, it's a positive thing, I'm saying. But it's just so, I can't even really explain the way that it feels unless you've been through it. And there are people that are like, you know, they're so nice and they want to empathize and be like, well, yeah, my legs hurt sometimes. I'm like, well, that's not the same thing at all, but thank you for the sentiment. It's just, it's different for everybody. And, you know, I said this in my last video, I've never met somebody my age with my degree of cerebral palsy, right? With none of the mental complications, none of the upper muscular complications, just the one limp, right? If there's ever anybody out there that's kind of on the same level as me that would want to talk, because I'm sure we had like a similar experience, I would love that. But it's also important to spread awareness, I think, because when people think of cerebral palsy, I feel like they go to the extreme, okay? And they see this image of somebody wheelchair bound, quadriplegic, you know, can't walk in a wheelchair, and that's just not what it is. That's not, I'm not any of those things. I mean, I go and I walk around and I run and I can do everything a normal person can do. I just do it a little bit differently, okay? So like, for example, stairs, you know, fine, you know, but I'll use the railing, you know. Running, fine, might not be as fast, but yeah, I could do it. So don't judge somebody based on the name of the condition. Just like no one person is the same, no disability or condition is the same as well. So it's really important to keep that in mind when dealing with these things, and to the people that have some sort of physical condition, you know, it does get better. Your body itself might not, but you learn to handle it. As you get older, you learn and you figure out like, well, you know, I can't do it this way, so I'll do it this way. And it will all be okay. And I didn't used to think it would be, I do now, because I've lived with it for 25 years. It sounds like a long time. I'm so old, but it's just different. You know, you have to live differently, and that's okay. That's a totally normal, perfect way for you to do things, because you do things the way that you need to, okay? Not by anyone else's standards or what they tell you that you need to be doing. You do it at your own pace, and you do it what makes you comfortable, okay? So, so that's just a little message of like hope to anybody out there who's struggling with that. I also know that, you know, having this condition, at least for me, came with some mental struggles to like anxiety and depression. And you work through those things as well. That's a separate topic, but it can be something that is directly correlated with, you know, cerebral palsy. And it's just really important to keep your head up and to know that you're not alone. If you ever see this video and you're going through the same thing that I am, you know, you're not by yourself. I've been there, I've done it, and I came out the other side of growing up with this condition, and it's not impossible. It might not be that fun or easy, but you can make it fun, and you can make the best of everything that you have. So it's really important to just stay positive and stay cool and level-headed about things, because you have to adapt and you have to learn to live your life with what you were given. And that's just so important to do. So to anyone, like I said, that's struggling with anything, you got this, you can do it. You know, you have people that love you, and it'll be fine. You'll be okay. Because I didn't think I would be, and I am. So it's really nice to share this kind of second part to my story. Let me know if you want like a third part, which is like life now as an adult. And hope you all are having a great night, great day, great afternoon, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I hope it's great. I love you guys, and thank you so much for the support on the last video. It was so cool to see my story being shared and viewed, and you know, all that. It was so nice. So I appreciate that so much. Remember to like and subscribe for more of me, and I will see you all next Tuesday. All right, bye.